to add on that and kind of put it in a little more context, it could be, all right, this customer called for a generator. And let's say they decided we provided 6 options, top options are automatics, bottom options are just interlocks. And they chose the bottom option. You now have the ability of having a 1 year or 6 month anniversary and saying, hey, I know that we installed the system for you because you were planning on having some power outages. How's it been working out for you? Have you lost power at all? Because obviously the goal would be, well, if it never lost power, then great, let it collect dust. I'm happy for you. You made the right investment then. But if they've lost power more, now we have the ability of serving them at a higher level. And that could be, we can provide a generator now that has either remote start or has electric start, or now has an upgraded transfer switch like a home link. Or we could even scale it up higher and say, well, if you've lost power 6 times this year, that's a lot more than you lost recently.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another episode of Electricpreneur Secrets, the Electricians podcast. Electricians, this is for electricians by electricians. I'm your host, Clay Newmeyer. With me, as always, my esteemed and yesterday great-looking co-host, Joseph Lucani. We are the Electricpreneurs, just a couple of master electricians with business addictions here and ready to serve. We're trying to take you to the top. We're trying to help you master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. And this episode, episode 267, is no exception. That's almost a rhyme. So welcome to our freemium daily coach call. The admission for you: sit back in the hot seat, take everything we give, just promise to take action. My goodness. Joe, how are you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing really, really great because, one, if I can give a little announcement, I thought it was so funny how we ended today's class with a bye, bye, bye instead of asking started with a hello, hello, hello.
Oh gosh,
So
that's
my whole
embarrassing,
day has been
actually.
made. Let's just put it that way.
That's embarrassing, brother.
It's not. I was gonna, hey, if you can tell me that I could post lightsaber videos, I could talk about that.
The thing is, you're passionate about lightsabers. I'm really not
That's
passionate
true.
about NSYNC. I'm really just a
That's true.
Justin Timberlake guy. That's it.
J Tim's no wrong with that. No wrong with
GT.
that.
Mike Lott watching live in the Facebook Entrepreneur Secrets group. Thanks, Mike, for joining us, brother. As always,
Mike's the
happy to
man.
have you.
Mike
Yeah.
is the absolute man. I love you, Mike.
Listen, we're going to tag into something. 2 tags, actually. This is like tag squared because we're tagging into yesterday's episode, how I kind of went on a rant about businesses, loyalty programs, upping the ante even for the middle class, and why those options are so important. But then in class today, this discussion really erupted about this power of recommendation and if we should really use that. And so we named this one, consistent with that, really stop pressuring, because that's what we're going to talk about today, and how every choice is a great choice, and really the concept behind that and how you can use this in your favor. I think something I want to say on your behalf, quick, Joe, just to light this
Sure.
up, is when you design this specific sales process that we teach in this loop method, it came from a place of caring, and not just caring about the person, but caring about the relationship over today's sale. I think it's
Correct.
important for people to recognize that, and just how coincidentally that's how people enjoy being sold to these days. Can you
It
speak to
works
that a
out.
bit for me, brother?
Sure. So a lot of what we did was, obviously I learned from multiple different trainers across my career. And what I found was the best consistent theme was that when you apply pressure and when you make it so that you're trying to chase a certain sale or a particular option that you want to sell, you actually push them away from trusting you rather than bringing them closer. So a lot of times we as electricians, we're like, well, I see that the panel has got burn marks in it. I see that we have to change that. But in the customer's perspective, they called you because their countertop's not working. So you pushing them for something they weren't expecting to hear, even though you know it's the right choice, actually takes you away from both helping them and helping them in the future. So what? Go ahead.
I just have a question. I mean,
Yeah.
they called you, you're a master electrician, you're in their house. Where
Mhm.
do you think the general trust eroded in this situation that you can't even make a recommendation that they can accept wholly?
So it's not that they can't trust you. It's really the why should they trust you at this point? They don't know you. You've come into the home. Yeah, ideally you've built a relationship, and ideally you've gone and you've showed the value of working with you. But at the end of the day, any choice they make with you is the right choice because I know my quality of electrical work. I can judge myself on my quality of work, but I can also judge myself on the quality of my intentions. The
Hmm.
moment that they go to work for someone else, I no longer have control over those two things. So even if they take my worst option, I'm doing it with integrity. I'm doing it with care. I'm doing it with professionalism. I'm not going to cut corners regardless of what they spent. So I want them to use me because I know I'll treat them the way I feel they deserve to be treated. And by using me and getting that experience, they're likely going to continue using me. So whatever option they pick is going to eventually lead to us having a relationship. And isn't that the best win you can get?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I made this post the other day and you remind me of this where I kind of joked about if you need help, make like a premium service provider and reach out.
Mm-hmm.
But that ties into exactly what we're saying here. Because by relieving the pressure today and just being there and showing up and then proving that with your salesmanship, servicemanship,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not attached to a big ticket today. You just want
Correct.
to serve. And in fact, the lower they go in your options, the more roadmap you have to later pursue in that follow up care when you reach out like a premium service provider should. Please continue.
I think a really good example of this is when customers call for generators. So many times people have like this immediate trigger to be like, oh, they need a whole home automatic system. But what I would do is I would design portable options. I'd have automatics, yes. But when the customer came in and yeah, they may have expected a $15,000 price ticket, but I'm presenting something as low as 1,500. And now they look at me like, well, why would you offer that? Because I want you to have control over the budget. I want you to have control over the quality and the expectation. Whatever you choose, as long as it's me, you're making a good choice. So how would you like to proceed?
So, do you mean to tell me in that situation, there's no generator included?
So in the bottom option, like
Yeah,
as
that's what I
example,
mean. At
yeah,
that
yeah. So
1500.
yeah. So at the bottom option, let's talk about it would have been perfect for your situation. Remember? You
Yeah.
didn't really lose power very frequently, but you had to run down to Home Depot or whatever supplier got it, go in, create a cheater cord, get the heat to work, get the computer to work. What if at our bottom option was I'm going to have an interlock, I'm going to have an inlet on the opposite side of the panel or opposite side of the meter. At the very bare minimum, I know that if you lost power, you could borrow it from a neighbor, you could get it from wherever supplier, you could rent it, but all I got to do is plug it in, throw a switch, and you could safely have power. I'd say for someone who doesn't really lose it very frequently, that's a very valuable option.
So there's a superpower in this, and I love where this went. Organic
Mm-hmm.
conversation, ladies and gents.
Yep.
I don't know. I love where this went. So, in spite of a customer calling you for a generator estimate,
Mm-hmm.
you recognize the why behind that is because they've lost power and caused some inconvenience to some
Mm-hmm.
degree that's caused this action to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
So, where everyone else provided a generator estimate, you provided an outside the box solution that surprised them, where they realized, hey, we could come in at a more affordable level. And instead of pushing this top option and trying to sell some big ATS, 20 kilowatt beast, you've just given them a way to power it without the big expense up front.
Exactly. Because the why is the more important part than the what. I want to figure out what are they going to use it for, but why do they feel like they need it? No one just wakes up in the morning and says, "You know what? 5:15. You know what I should do? I should get a generator quote today." Yeah, we never lose power. I feel like spending some money. There's always a why. There's something that usually plagues people for 1 to 3 weeks prior to making that call. And when they do, I want to solve that emotional pain. I don't want to just drop a system in there and say, this is all you get. You asked for a generator, I gave you a generator. What do you want from me? I want to solve the emotional pain that you have. And if it's solved through a generator, then that's a win. If it's solved through an interlock, so you're just prepared, that's also a win. Because when you win, you'll call me back. And when you call me back, I win. So it's a continuous loop, a service loop, if you would.
That little bit extra for future serviceability. I'll
Amen.
just
I mean, I
sneak
mean,
that in there under the rug, man. No, no, that's huge because again, not really a betting man, but what are the chances that someone actually takes that lowest option? It's
you know,
not, it's not, it's not likely that 1,500 was, for a generator install, a price that they had in their head. I mean, that
Nope.
might even be less than an Angie lead suggestion for this service, which is pretty low, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you were able to prove that you're not about the money. And I think that in that situation, it opens up the discussion about what else you could provide based on the experience and the trust that you've earned, anyways. And your record in sales kind of suggests this, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the goal is I don't want to be a home run hitter. I want to be a consistent hitter. So what I'm most proud of is the high consistent closing ratio of 80%. Because if I can create myself to be in a situation where I'm letting others win and I'm solving their emotional pain points and I'm able to understand the why, is I can both win now, but also again in the future because I don't have to churn my clients. The clientele base only grows and scales over time, thus leading to a more scalable business.
I love that. I love that. And I love that from a marketing standpoint, which is what our focus on Facebook has been today in the action posts you guys may see going out, where many companies are trying to utilize a free inspection to just gain entrance into a home and generally inspect and try to find something. It's very,
Mm,
very unattractive to homeowners. People are on to
yeah.
this. It's this generalist, sure, come look at my stuff and then offer something, right?
Hmm.
But what we're talking about here is a specific solution, working with people who are problem aware. And that's where this ties perfectly back into that. Because even if they take us at our bottom option, we were the right choice. And we are dedicated to continuing to be the right choice. And being a
Hmm.
premium service provider means that I never want you to experience the negative side of things. I'm trying to be proactive with that relationship, anyways. So when I follow up seasonally, when I ask or perform a happy call, right? Or when the CSR does more
Hmm.
appropriately, when
Hmm.
we follow this up and make sure that the system's running smooth, can't we also tie back? Oh, and by the way, you chose this option because, right? But have those other things burdened you at all? Is there anything else there that you yourself weren't able to do and or that we would be able to provide you with? And that's a more problem aware conversation that's already been discussed and never really left the table. They just chose something lower, and that's perfect. And it's perfect for your future schedule as well. Does that make sense?
It really does. And to add on that and kind of put it in a little more context, it could be, all right, this customer called for a generator. And let's say they decided to, we provided six options, top options are automatics, bottom options are just interlocks. And they chose the bottom option. You now have the ability of having a 1 year or 6 month anniversary and saying, hey, I know that we installed the system for you because you were planning on having some power outages. How's it been working out for you? Have you lost power at all? Because obviously the goal would be, well, if it never lost power, then great, let it collect dust. I'm happy for you. You made the
Yep.
right investment then. But if they've lost power more, now we have the ability of serving them at a higher level. And that could be we can provide a generator now that has either remote start or has electric start or now has an upgraded transfer switch like a home link. Or we could even scale it up higher and say, well, if you've lost power 6 times this year, that's a lot more than you lost recently. We could either continue and you can just keep going the way you have been, or we can talk about more permanent solutions. How would you like me to proceed?
Yeah, I love
And
that.
they invite you to now do it. But you couldn't have gotten in that position if you push for the higher sale. Like, listen, Clay, I know that it's been a while. You remember Sandy when you lost power for 8 weeks? You want to go through that again? It feels bad. No one likes that.
Absolutely, man. I'm going to tie back to something I introduced there and just say if you're listening to this and wondering how you can get your messaging a little more on the specialist side, a little more niched in to be problem aware, speaking to the actual needs, desires, and problems that your clients are facing, then we give away a free guide on this. So whether you're live with us on Facebook or listening to this on your favorite podcast channel, go ahead and just send us a message that says specialist checklist, and we'll get that sent out to you. Otherwise, Joe, we got
That's
to wrap this
wonderful.
up with a couple of action items, brother. Basic, all star. What would you like today? Both?
I'm fine with whatever you prefer. I can do both if you need.
Okay. Light us up
So,
with the basic and let's go
okay.
from there.
So the very bare minimum to all this is to understand not just pushing the sale, but being able to control the fear that you have, which is causing you to push that sale. Because the reason why I say that is most people don't intend on being pushy. We got into the trade not to be salespeople, we did it to be good electricians. But when you feel that you need to make a sale, you have an internal pressure to close. I'm saying at the very most basic action, at least acknowledge that fear is present and don't let it be present at the table with you. When you're with them, mind like water, we can only focus on serving them. And sometimes serving them at the highest level means not getting this job and letting someone else botch it up. But we need to make sure we are not afraid of needing that production. I'd say it's a very solid basic for the situation.
Yep. I love it, man. Listen, I'm gonna throw in a big all-star today, and I think
Sure.
this is huge. And we've encouraged this many times, but I have to double down on this.
Okay, go for
It
it.
can't be just about today.
Mm-hmm.
Big business, sustainable business, your dream business, premium service business is actually about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we've got to take a few steps to really help us with that. For example, did you know across all industries, 1/3 of your customers will buy something else?
That's
That's
pretty
at the
cool.
checkout and in the follow up. 1/3 of your customers, statistically across all sales. What that means is there's a huge opportunity to do better than that too.
Mm-hmm.
So the fortune is in the follow up. You've probably heard this before. Know that if they're choosing you, that is absolutely a win. Like Joe said, it's not about home runs, it's about consistent hits and what we do after that consistent hit that helps continue to fuel this relationship, keep us engaged, and again, keep them looking to work with people they trust. So make sure that even on a basic sale, we do the post call fax and we upload that the options information, your sheet that you presented. Make sure that gets on file and make sure that we put that in a way and let the team know and discuss those so you can refer to them and put them in your marketing later. Grab that specialist checklist from us, guys. I'm out of breath. Joe, thank you very much, man. This has been another episode 267. Stop pressuring your customers to buy so much today. Stop with the recommendations. Start just providing options that all are your recommendation and let them choose. It's massive to you, to us, and to everyone in this industry. And this has been another episode to help you master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Nothing but a pleasure, gents. Look forward to talking to you soon.